There's no denying that working with people can be challenging, so it's only expected that some idols aren't the easiest to work with. From the rude outlashes like the infamous Red Velvet's Irene accident that has already been debunked, to an idol spitting in planes and making the staff's lives literal hell. There are some shady things going down behind the closed doors. Sometimes the stories of how idols treat the staff get leaked, and it's always a big scandal. In October 2020, stylist and editor KOOKIELIT stepped forward with strong allegations against a female idol who was none other than Irene from Red Velvet. The stylist described their encounter as a 20-minute long hell. This person claimed that Irene lashed out and insulted her in front of everyone, quoting, "The knife from her mouth did not stop as I had been multiple times by her words, and only tears rolled down my face." After people uncovered the identity of the star, hell broke loose. Some people demanded an apology, while others were trying to understand what was the reason behind Irene's outburst. Even the stylist herself said that she tried to justify the interaction they had. In her Instagram post, she wrote, "I thought deeply about this, but could not understand her actions." Of course, people were confused. Some blamed the whole thing on Irene having a bad day. Exactly, people are being too hard on Irene. She is human after all. Everyone has bad days and good. Please just move on. We all can have a bad day, of course, but how far can this excuse go? How much of it are just empty words to justify the true character of someone? Eventually, the public scrutinization ended in both SM and Irene apologizing. But even after Irene admitted her mistake, her public appearance kept being criticized and commented on by netizens. One person said, "A very different vibe now when I look at her. Image is important." Another person added, "She's obviously still pretty, but maybe it's her aura? That changed. She's definitely more cautious now." But the situation turned out to be a little different, because then another person came forward sharing their side of the story. An employee of a fashion brand came forward to speak her truth. "The stylist was pissed off at me, took my clothes and threw them down." In the rumors that were spread, Irene was painted as someone who threw a tantrum and the clothes. The employee described her encounter with Irene as pleasant, saying Irene approached them, complimented their clothes, and thanked them for their hard work. So it seems like someone was trying to fabricate the worst possible version of what happened and then decided to blame it all on Irene so that she would take all the lashings for it. While the scandal has been a stain on Irene's image, there are way more positive encounters of staff with Irene than negative ones. Even recently, Red Velvet's hairstylist Sun Yi shared a heartwarming story about how Irene gifted her a pair of socks out of nowhere during their business trip, even when they weren't close back then. It seems like Irene really appreciates people working with her as she showers them with surprise gifts. And while idols' mood swings can be brushed off as having a bad day, it's always the staff around them who get the first-hand experience with it. Kpop's member Wei shared her experience of witnessing how rude idols act towards their staff in hair salons, and let me just say that she spoke facts. If the staff do something wrong, they're scolded like crazy. I think it's like a custom. They would scold staff my age right in front of me, and that made me feel uncomfortable as well. To even think that there's some idols who have no respect for people working for them and with them is simply sad, considering how they're the ones who make sure that idols can go on TV, film shows, music videos, and basically have a successful career. And it's not only hairdressers and editors being scolded by idols. A flight attendant shared horrifying stories that she experienced with idols in a YouTube video. She revealed a story about a particular idol who would make many of us mad. The flight attendant said he kept the plane from taking off because he was chain smoking in the smoking room inside the airport. When the flight attendant went out looking for him and notified him that he should be boarding right away, he asked if she was on her period. Not only is this behavior straight up gross, but it's also misogynistic and it lacks any human decency. The saddest thing is that this wasn't the last terrible encounter she experienced with idols. Another story she shared was actually about a girl group, and it's pretty disgusting if you ask me. The flight attendant claimed that one girl group was spitting in between the space on the carousel and playing a game of spitting. People who saw the video were straight up shocked. One person said, "I guess it's arrogance, thinking they have everyone fooled so well or that the public loves them so much that it doesn't matter." Another added, "Just reveal them so that I can understand. I hate people with bad attitudes the most." There's an undeniable importance of how K-pop idols present themselves in public. One stumble of their public image and their career can crash down. South Koreans value respect for the elders and manners above all else. Or do they? Any idol who gets involved with attitude controversy usually ends up losing a lot, whether it's brand deals or a whole career. Many people who shared their experiences with idols looking bored and arrogant usually justified it with them just being tired. One person shared, "I had an unpleasant run-in with a member of EXO, but since it was a one-time thing, I assumed that he was just tired or having a bad day. Anyone can be a bit rude. It happens. It's completely normal. After all, K-pop idols are just people who have their own emotions and feelings, and it's not like all of us are always super nice too. For example, Blackpink's Jennie was usually targeted for being rude just because she had an arrogant-looking resting face. Similarly, Mamamoo's Hwasa got criticized for having a diva persona, but there are no stories about her ever being rude to fans or staff. Idols are often put on a pedestal by the media, companies, and even their fans. However, after some time, it can get to one's head, and that's when some idols start being difficult to work with. But what happens when people who are difficult to work with end up in a group, causing their downfall? AOA's Mina stepped forward on her Instagram to share her story about how her group member Jimin was ruining her life for a decade. She didn't just say that, she came forward with disturbing proof of her wanting to pass away, all because of the leader of AOA. She's been posting all over social media, especially Instagram, about the constant blame, anger, and resentment she holds towards Jimin. People had mixed reactions to this situation, but we were all mostly on Mina's side. Well, until this year when the staff decided to put a stop to her disturbing show. Before that though, people had already been vocal about Mina not being super professional when she was the member of the group, and that some of the behavior from Jimin's side may have been justified by saying that she was just trying to do her best as a leader. For example, in 2018, AOA were due to perform in Malaysia, but Mina wasn't able to do so due to alleged strong migraines. AOA was forced to change the choreography to fit with the number of members they had, as Mina would withdraw from all the performances. The members of AOA were really stressed out because of this, but then an agent saw Mina the following day in the spa, swimming in the pool, and enjoying massages. The agent later complained to the company, exposing that Mina lied. There are other instances of Mina being difficult to work with, as known from leaked messages between the managers. One manager even said, "I'm tired of walking on eggshells around Mina all the time." To be honest, it seems like Mina is showing some great gaslighting examples in the way that she talks to everyone around her. Not only was she treating managers in a very bad way, but she was also guilt-tripping her members, mainly Jimin. "I became crazy. I've become broken, but you don't remember? You tormented me every day. You don't remember, right?" You would think that coming forward to talk would be the end of it, but that's not the case. Mina is in the loop of demanding an apology, even though Jimin already apologized to her multiple times. She continued to message Jimin with no response. "Jimin, you can't do this to me. Someone's passing away here. Do you have no emotion? You have no remorse, huh? It's about time your temper comes up. Why are you quiet?" Mina is swinging between opening and deactivating her Instagram account because the public has turned on her after the staff exposed recordings and messages from what was happening in the dorm. Jimin decided to step out. She left AOA and the entertainment industry completely, and one of her neighbors came forward recently, implying that it looks like she isn't doing well with her mental health. There are no traces of her, only in Mina's words and now deleted Instagram posts. Yes, not fighting back is a choice. Many people say that it was a good thing to do on Jimin's behalf. Looks like Jimin's silence is paying off. Things will get ugly if she handles it like April versus Hyunju case. Which brings me to another variant of this situation. When difficult people meet in the band and decide to lash out on one another, eventually causing their downfall. April's Hyunju's brother and former classmate came forward to speak out on how she was mistreated by her other group members. They painted the rest of the group as someone who treated Hyunju badly, were mean towards her, and even stole things from her. But the whole thing quickly turned around, and fans were left in shock when they realized that it wasn't just the other members who had issues with Hyunju, it was also Hyunju who was throwing tantrums and making things difficult. In the end, April's members came forward to do an interview with Sports Kyunghyung to shine a light on their side of the situation. They all spoke about how Hyunju was skipping practices and performances, sometimes not even showing up, claiming that she was ill. A member revealed a story about her spraying too much perfume to cover a smell, even though her band member Yena was sensitive to these types of smells. Although it sounds like a ridiculous story, it's one of the examples in which Hyunju lashed out. We asked her to stop spraying perfume, but she started screaming like usual. She was shouting so much, and the manager who was talking on the phone at the time told her to be quiet. Taewon delivered the message and told her to lower her voice. Hyunju started cursing at her. The next day, she didn't show up for show champion. They described her as a ticking time bomb, as someone who they were afraid of and not the other way around. Things got way messier than they needed to be, as the DSP agency told the rest of the group to stay still and try to solve the things by themselves, which ended up causing more harm than good. They shouldn't have pushed Hyunju to be in a band while she had medical issues, or should have paid more attention so she would do the activities with the rest of the girls. DSP sued Hyunju, her brother, and her classmate, and additionally, 2 other members of April have been pressing charges against Hyunju for defamation. All these stories of public images being butchered are like a warning for idols. In an interview, Big Matthew shared, "If any artists are watching this right now, be good to your staff, cause you don't know what they be saying behind you. They are the ones who have ears and eyes around the idols, and you can never know who will be the one to run their mouth and spill something. Penuel even mentioned that he heard that it's actually the staff who usually leak the info about scandals. So that's that. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.